So at this point, you should have already chosen your topic for Essay 3 and done your brainstorming assignment. Now it is time to start working on your outline. You're going to notice that a lot of the parts of this outline are very similar to what we've done for Essay 1 and 2, with a couple new things thrown in. In this video, I'm going to take you through the different sections so that you can decide how much time you are going to need to prepare and get this outline completed. It is important that you don't try to do this all in one sitting. As you can see, it is quite extensive, and so you're going to want to make sure that you're giving yourself at least a couple days to complete this. Let's get started. Before we get started on your Essay 3 outline, there's a couple of things that you're going to need to have open. So to get a hold of those things, you're going to want to go to Download Essay 3 Outline and Packet. And there's going to be two. The first link is to the Google Doc that I have opened over here. Just like with Essay 1 and 2, you're going to be saving yourself a copy so that you can edit it. And then the second link is going to be to a PDF, and I'm going to open it over here. And so this PDF has a lot of really useful information. Number one, it goes through the assignment. It introduces the different types of paragraphs that you're going to be writing. It also has the essay requirements here. And then what is most helpful is that it has a bunch of templates for the thesis statement and your topic sentences. So these are going to come in real useful later on. I also included some information on how to cite a YouTube video as well as a comment on a YouTube video, which is going to be helpful. And then I also have sample paragraphs for the different types of paragraphs, which you are welcome to read or look at later on in your writing process. But for today, we're just going to be focusing on the templates here. So I'm just going to be going through this in order. So I'm just going to go click on Next. Of course, you can always go back to modules and move through it in order that way, but this is the easiest way for me. The first thing that you're going to be doing is your thesis and topic sentences, as well as your hook, which I'll go over in a second. So for your thesis statement, you are welcome to just try writing it yourself. So this is the information that you're going to want to make sure you have in your thesis. And I also have an example here. You're also welcome to use a template. And then so you're just going to be filling that out where it asks for your thesis statement in your introduction. I'm going to shrink this down. Okay, then you're going to be doing your topic sentences. So these are going to be the topic sentences for all your body paragraphs. So that includes your setting the groundwork, your lit review, your tactics analysis 1 and 2, and your message analysis 1 and 2. So you're going to have quite a few topic sentences to write, and each of them are going to be slightly different because each of the paragraphs is going to be different. So if you would rather leave this till the end of the outlining process, once you know what all these different paragraphs are actually going to be, that's fine. You could also get it done ahead of time with the templates that I provided, but just make sure that before you turn in your outline, you have all these topic sentences done. And again, you're welcome to use the packet, and it's going to take you through how to write your different topic sentences. Then you're going to have your hook. So just like with Essay 2, you're going to choose whatever type of hook that you want. I do provide a page where you can go to see the different types of hooks and kind of choose one that fits your writing style and your topic. And you're going to be filling that in here. So that is going to be it for this first section. So you should have your thesis, your topic sentences, unless you do want to leave that till the end of the outlining process, and then your hook. Okay, and now we're going to go on to the next part. So as I mentioned before, you are not going to be turning your outline in after each part. You're not going to do that until the very end. Once it's all completed, then you'll turn it in and I will take a look. So you won't actually be completing anything at this point. That's why it's 0 points. You're just going to keep going to the next section. So the next part is your setting the groundwork paragraph. So we have not done a setting the groundwork yet. And so the purpose of this paragraph is that you're going to be providing any contextual information to your reader to help them better understand your topic. This is going to be really important for lots of different types of research papers because you want to make sure that your reader has all the information that they need to fully be able to follow your line of thinking and to understand your topic. So, the couple things I'm going to have you guys talk about in your setting the groundwork paragraph is your message and context, which is basically what is the main message of your video, what's the purpose of the video, and then what is the context that it was made. What that means is you're going to look at the year and month or time period in which the video was made, and you're going to be doing some research on what was happening at that time that might have inspired the video. Now, certain topics are going to be more obvious than others. For example, if your video is about, something that was happening at the last election or this election, that there's an obvious inspiration for the video. However, some videos, like for example, School Bully, don't have a clear reason for why they were made. I mean, obviously, school bullying is not a new thing that's happening. However, I was able to find some interesting information about what was happening in 2012 when this video was made. So, according to my research, I found that all throughout 2012, then President Barack Obama was looking into a lot of school reform. And so there are a lot of articles at the time about how to make education systems better and how to better support students, which I think was a big inspiration for a lot of the discussion in the video about things like literacy. Another thing that we were dealing with in 2012 and that we continue to deal with now is the increase in school shootings. And so 2012 was when we really started looking into the psychology about what makes for a school shooter as well as a victim. And so we were looking a lot into bullying as being a major contributor to that. And so the idea of bullying and the causes and effects of it were really starting to become part of the overall societal conversation we were having around school shootings. And so I was able to look into that, find some different articles, and so that's what I would talk about for this section of my essay. Once you've explored the message and context, you're going to move on to speaker and intended audience. So the speaker of the video is going to be the creator of the video. So not the characters, but the person who wrote the lines for the characters, the person who came up with the video in the first place. So in my case, that's going to be Michael Key and Jordan Peele, and they are the writers for the Key and Peele show, which was on Comedy Central. You do want to make sure that if your skit is coming from a Comedy Central show or just a TV show that you talk about that. If it was made originally for YouTube or for a streaming platform, you'll want to talk about that as well. I know a lot of you are writing on different satire news like The Daily Show or like the Patriot Act. And so you'll want to make sure that you do some research on the show that you've chosen so you can tell me exactly when it was made and kind of the context in which the show was made. If you're going to be talking about a particular YouTube channel, also do the same research. Make sure that you understand how long this channel has been around, what type of content they usually make, as much information as you can find out with a general internet search. So that's going to be the speaker, and then you're going to talk about the intended audience. So the intended audience is going to be the audience that was written for by the speaker. So who did the speaker intend to watch and understand and enjoy the content? We know that the intended audience is not the only people who will actually watch the video, but it does help to understand who the video was meant for, at least initially. For some of you, your video might actually have multiple audiences. For example, for the Key and Peele videos, their original audience was on Comedy Central. So people who tuned into Comedy Central, watched their entire show, and enjoyed their skits. And so in 2012, the majority of people that were watching Comedy Central tended to be young to middle-aged males. Now, we know that is not the only people who watch the Key and Peele skit, and the reason that is because Key and Peele had a secondary audience on YouTube. So Shortly after 2012, the Comedy Central started cutting up the videos and they started putting them on YouTube as just short little skits. And so that audience was a lot more diverse. They skewed a lot younger. And that is who, for the most part, I believe, continues to watch these skits today. Tends to be more of the YouTube audience than that original Comedy Central audience. So you just want to make sure that you're talking about all those things, that you show your awareness of who is actually watching this content, who it's made for, and if it has multiple ways that people are watching it, just mention that. And that's going to be your intended audience, and that's going to be the end of your setting the groundwork. The next section is going to be the literature review. So this is another new type of paragraph that we haven't done before, but don't get too overwhelmed. So the purpose of the lit review in academia is that usually this is where a researcher will talk about the articles and research that has been done on their topic previously. So it's a way of kind of setting a foundation so that the reader knows what has been done before, and so they can better understand what is being done now. In your case, we don't necessarily have to find any research because you're just talking about your video. But I do want you to go and look to see what other people have said about your video. So there's two ways of doing this. One, you can just Google the name and creator of your video and see if there's any articles that have been written about the video. You might be surprised on people who have, wanted to comment or wanted to respond to the video. And so that can be a good way of finding a quote that you might want to use to talk about how others have responded to the video. If you can't find anything, or regardless, you can also look at the comment section of the video. So I had you guys do this when you brainstormed. I had you guys go to the comment section and pick a couple comments that you thought were representative of what a lot of people were saying about the video. So you are totally welcome to use those comments that you found in your brainstorming and use them in this section. So you're going to be finding two either quotes or comments. They can be two comments, two quotes, or a mix. For my example here, I found one comment from YouTube and then one quote from a Screen Rant article where someone was writing about school bully. So this would work. If there isn't any article that was written, it's okay if it's just two comments. You just want to make sure that whatever comments you're choosing, that they are well thought out and thoughtful, and that they show an understanding and awareness of the topic at hand, and not just, I hate this video or I love this video. I want it to have some sort of credibility and criticism to it, so that we can get a general sense of how people are responding to the video. And that's going to be it. You're just going to be having your two comments. Of course, you'll have your topic sentence, and then you'll be all good for this section. Next, we're going to go look at your tactics analysis paragraphs. So you're going to see that you have two tactics analysis paragraphs. And these are your tactics that you chose previously. So you should have already chosen your two tactics that you want to write about, and they can be persuasive, or they can be satirical, or they can be a mix. So to support your tactics, rather than doing any research, you're going to be actually looking at the video itself and finding examples of how that tactic is used in the video. I also had you plan for this in your brainstorming, so of course you're allowed to reuse all that information and stick it in here. My example, I chose the persuasive tactic of nonverbal signals. And so I'm going to be coming up with two examples from the video where nonverbal signals are happening, and I need to go into detail to explain how those nonverbal signals work in the scene. So in the case of nonverbal signals, obviously I can't quote anything because it is nonverbal. And so I'm going to be using detailed description of the body language and of the actions of the characters to explain how those nonverbals worked, and what their purpose was in the video. So you are more than welcome to look at my example. I go into pretty great detail. I would likely also add additional detail when it actually comes to writing my paper, but for the outline. I just want to get a general sense that you have a scene, you understand how the scene works, and that you can go into detail about what's happening in the scene. So you're going to be doing that for both of your tactics. And then when you're all done, we're going to go on to the next section. The last thing we're going to be doing are your messages. So this is where it's time to do some research. For each of your message analysis paragraphs, you need to state whether the message is true or false, and then you need to support that with research. Now, most of the time, the messages are going to be true, that you guys are usually going to choose videos that you already know something about the topic, and you're not going to tend to choose videos that you think are sending bad information. So it's okay if both your messages turn out to be true. That's totally fine. It's also okay if one of them turns out to be false or both of them turn out to be false, or if there's a mix. As long as you are being consistent with that throughout the paragraph, it doesn't really matter whether it's true or false. So once you've decided that your message is either true or false, you need to then find research to support that answer. So if you state in your topic sentence that your message is true, you need to find 2 articles that prove that validity. And if you state in your topic sentence that your message is untrue, you need to find 2 articles that support that idea so that this thing is not true. Just like with essay 2, you're going to want to make sure that your research support is science-based. So I don't want opinion. I don't want articles about a single incident that happened. I want science-based data, statistics, something that talks about the broader issue and not just a particular case or a particular person's opinion on the issue. So for my example, the message that I'm looking into is that literacy is still an issue for American children and that it can often go undetected. And this is a message that I found to be true. So my 2 articles here and my 2 quotes are supporting this idea that 1, literacy is an issue and that it can go on undetected in teachers or by parents. And so you can see that both of my quotes here are science-based. They're talking about research. This one in particular comes from a research article, and it's talking about this idea that certain individuals are more likely to fall through the cracks and to not receive the literacy education that they need. While this one is talking about the high rates in which some students don't learn to fully read or that they have partial literacy. And so this includes a lot of data and statistics and numbers. So both of these are very credible. They come from experts. And so both of these would work really well to support my point. So you're going to be doing that with both of your messages. And then when you're all done, we're going to go on to the final page. So once you've done all of that, you're going to come to our final outline checklist. So here it's going to take you back through all the different pages to make sure that you haven't missed any. But if you've been doing this in order and you've done it all, at this point, you're good to go. And so once you are ready to submit, you're going to click on Submit Assignment. You're going to submit the Google Doc, and then I will take a look and provide some feedback within hopefully 24 hours. I'll get back to you guys, let you know if you're good to go. And then at that point, you're going to go on to work on your rough draft.